Hey, I'm Brendan. I just learned that the IRA changed our contribution limits and other rules around retirement accounts, so I've got to share this with you today. I'm going to summarize this article from the IRS so you know exactly how much money you can put into your various retirement accounts, depending on how old you are and depending on which accounts you want to use. The first piece of news is for those of us who participate in employer-sponsored retirement plans like a 401k, 403b, most 457 plans, as well as the government's TSP plan. TSP is just a thrift savings plan. They upped that overall limit that you can put in every year from $22,500 to $23,000 each and every year. So if you're really serious about saving in 2024 and you want to max this out, which I've done in the past, it's pretty serious, but you can do it, that equals $1,917 per month that you'd be contributing towards this. And that is the same as $442 a week. If you're like me and you get paid twice per month, that means it's $958 per paycheck would be going towards your 401k to max it out this year. It's a lot of money, but that's going to add up really fast. Exactly how fast will it add up? Well, let's say you're 30 years old and you're just starting investing now, and you max out that amount every year until you turn 62, which is a typical retirement age. So you're investing $19.17 per month for 32 years, get about an 8% return. Guess how much you'd have at the end? $1 million? Nope, more. $3.2 million would be your total ending balance. And that would be a lot of money to retire on at 62. So maxing out your 401k could be a really good way to get that much money. But if you don't want to use a 401k, there's also changes to other retirement accounts like IRAs. Let's go over those now. This is more good news for those of us who want to invest a lot of money. The annual contribution limit, which is the most amount of money that you can put in each year for an IRA, went up from $6,500 a year to $7,000 a year. If you're over 50 and you've been doing that extra $1,000 per year as your catch-up contribution, which is a cool thing, if you're kind of late to the game, you want to invest as much as possible, that amount hasn't changed. So if you're over 50, the total amount you can invest in an IRA is $8,000. If you're under 50, the total amount you can invest in an IRA is $7,000. And to be clear, that's either a Roth or a traditional IRA, because what you can't do is do $7,000 in each. It's between those two kinds of IRAs, the most you can do is that limit of $7,000. So maybe you want to split it up and do half and half, Roth and traditional IRA, you could do that, $3,500 in each, or you can do all in one. The monthly breakdown on that, if you wanted to max it out and do the full $7,000 per year, would be $583 per month, which is the same thing as $292 per check, or $135 a week. It's a lot more palatable and a lot more easy to live with, but it also means that if you invested for that same time frame we talked about before, from 30 years old to 62 years old, you're going to end up with a lot less money because you'll only have $979,000 at the end of that 32-year period instead of $3.2 million. So you invest more, you get more. That's kind of obvious. I'm a nerd and I like doing these investing calculator deals to share what I find when it comes to those calculations. The other big news here is the fact that the income ranges that allow you to use certain kinds of accounts have also bumped up. So if before you had made too much money, or if you're afraid, hey, I'm going to get that promotion, that's going to make me not be able to use this account, now you'll probably be able to do it because those have bumped up a bunch. And if you're sitting there going, Brendan, I don't make that much money, I'm not worried about that. The amount that matters to you is the saver's credit amount has bumped up. And what that is it gives you a special tax break if you don't make a lot of money, but you're saving for retirement anyway. So no matter what your income range is here, if it's low income, your saver's credit amount has bumped up. So I'm sure you're probably eligible for that. If you do make a lot of income, there's a chance now you're within the boundaries of a Roth IRA, so you can do that. So first, let's talk about a traditional IRA and what you can do to maximize that. If you're investing with a traditional IRA, your contributions to that can be deducted from your taxes unless you are out of this current income range. And so if you were single before and you want to deduct your contributions to that, which you do want to, that's going to lower your taxable income. I'm not a tax lawyer, but you probably do. It used to be that if you made over $83,000 a year, you couldn't do it. You couldn't deduct those, so it kind of wasn't really that useful for you in terms of using that kind of account. But now it's bumped up to $87,000 max. For married couples filing jointly, that limit to be able to deduct your contributions went up to $143,000 from $136,000 last year. So that's a pretty big bump. And that helps a few of us. But the bigger, more important thing for most of us is a Roth IRA. A lot of people are using a Roth IRA, and it's a really great investment account. If you're not familiar with it, then check back in my older videos and see exactly why a Roth IRA is so powerful. Part of the limit to a Roth IRA, though, is that if you make too much money, you literally can't use the account. The last one before was just talking about tax deductions. You could still use it even if your income was infinitely above that. The problem is you can't even use a Roth if your income is too high. And so now that max limit has gone up significantly. The max income you can have now and still use a Roth IRA if you're a single person or if you're a head of household and just kind of filing like singly used to be $153,000. More than that, you're out of here, can't use it. Now it's up to $161,000. For married couples filing jointly, now that top limit of the income range is $240,000, and it used to be $228,000, so we got a $12,000 bump there. So for people who are killing it and are making a lot of really good money, you can still use a Roth IRA. This is really good news. And if you really want to dig into the nitty-gritty of these details, I'll post the link to the IRS article where I'm reading this. There's a phase-out range for those incomes, so if you're like really close and you're knocking on the door of those, just be aware of the phase-out ranges. Look it up for yourself. Not a big deal. Now onto the Savers Credit. It's also known as the Retirement Savers Contribution Credit, and this is something that applies to a lot of people. If you've got low or a moderate income, this applies to you. The income limit to take advantage of the Savers Credit, if you're saving for retirement and you don't make more than $76,500 for married couples filing jointly, is a really good idea for you. I would do that if I were you. That was bumped up $3,500 from last year. If you're a single person and you're not married, you're not filing together with anybody else, now that limit of income is $38,250 per year. Last year it was only $36,500. And so when you're within those income limits, so if you're lower than that max income and you're saving for retirement in an IRA and a 401k and some kind of retirement savings dedicated account, then you've got to look into the Savers Credit because it's going to save you money on your taxes. There's no reason not to take advantage of this. It's out there for you. It's totally legal. Use it. Now, if you've made it this far into the video and you're like, Brendan, that's really cool if someone has so much money that they want to invest that they were like limited before. It's like a governor on your car. I can only drive 100. Oh, I want to drive 140. Like, who's trying to be that extreme in life that they need that kind of limit bump, that limit ceiling raised? I realize that this isn't going to affect everybody because not everybody was maxing out their 401k or maxing out their IRA. But for people who are serious about trying to retire early, this is especially important. If you're young, especially if you're in your 20s and you're able to save and invest a lot of money, instead of spending that, you can legitimately retire in your 30s, your 40s, worst case, your 50s. This is a real thing. People really do this. I know for a lot of us who are later on in life and we've got mortgages and kids and responsibilities and lots of expenses, to even think about maxing out some of these accounts might be like overwhelming. But if you're not in that space, or if you have a really healthy income, you can set this up and forget about it. Set it up one day and pull up these limits that I'll also link in the description if you want to see this little basic chart with the limits on here and go, okay, I want to max out my 401k this year. Let's pull out $958 per paycheck. Then I also want to max out my IRA, so let's put in $292 per paycheck. Let's see what the total of that is. So the total, if you wanted to do both, would be investing $30,000 per year, which is $2,500 a month even. Nice round number, gotta love that. Which is $1,250 per paycheck, or about $577 per week. So if you're going, look, I make whatever it is, $9,000 a month in this paycheck, I really only spend like $5,000. Instead of blowing that other $4,000, put enough aside to set yourself up for retirement and then not worry about it again. Because even if all you do is max these out and you don't invest a penny over and above this level, you're going to be so set up for retirement. You're not going to have to think about it and worry about it. It's all automatic. It can be taken out of your paycheck or taken out of your bank account immediately and automatically without you having to be a part in it, without you having to make that decision. So just set this up and make it easy on yourself. Full disclosure with me personally, we used to max out both of our IRAs. So if you're married filing jointly, each of you can have an IRA and each of you can max it out if you want. And my wife and I both did for probably about the 3 years before we had kids. I think something like that. And then I've only maxed out my 401k, I think 1 or 2 years in my life, because that's a high limit. I mean, $1,900 a month that's just laying around without a name on it, that's a pretty tough thing to do. So I want to say there might have been an overlap between those two things, like where I maxed them out both, maybe 1 year. But by and large, that's a pretty tough thing to do. You've got to have a healthy income and a healthy level of self-discipline to be able to do that. If we did that same investment calculator deal and we invested for 32 years and did both of those, so we did $30,000 per year total invested, you'd have like $4.2 million by the time you're 62, which would be totally awesome. It gets really crazy if you could extend that out a little bit more though, because if you did that same investing amount for 38 years instead of 32 years, so you just add on 6 more years, either at the beginning or the end, then you've got almost $7 million. So you've almost doubled your money by adding 6 more years. Like, that's the craziness of compound interest. And when that chart starts to go vertical, it's like, can't stop it. Just crazy, crazy money. Typically on this YouTube channel, I make videos that are more around products and services that are around the world of personal finance and investing. So like, hey, this new app came out. Does it suck or is it good? Or this app that we've been using for several years has changed a bunch. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Sometimes it's a bad thing. So if you're interested in that kind of in-depth personal finance related reviews, then please subscribe because that helps me. It's a good little number boost there. But just know that the way YouTube works now, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be shown that video. Like unless you're regularly watching those kinds of videos, YouTube won't like show that to you. You'd have to opt in by hitting that little notification bell. I don't care if you do or not. I only want you to watch videos that help you in your life. And so if you're like, oh yeah, I need to catch these videos, then hit the bell. But if you're not that interested in it, don't hit the bell. Then just subscribe and you'll get some of the videos. But if you want to go a lot more in depth right now, then I made this 1 hour long investing video that's basically like 0 to all the basics you need to know about investing, kind of abbreviated. It's like a quick summary version. I just skim over all the topics that are in my online class. That's something that actually costs money. You've got to pay for that. There's a link for that in the description. And that's like 4.5 hours long. So that's like lots of examples, lots of in-depth things. You get a worksheet to physically work through if you want to, so you can like take notes and answer things for your own life. So you know, okay, this is the kind of investing account I want. Here's my reason for investing. Here's my kind of overall life investing plan. You'll leave the class with all that stuff. So if you're interested in that, it's available to you. But this 1 hour class right here is totally for free. So check that out next. Otherwise, see you in the next video. Bye. Oh, and the secret comment word is turkey because Thanksgiving is coming up. All right, see you guys. Bye.